Ivan Ledesma, a community development worker from the Philippines. And I'm currently here in the UK studying my Master's in Development and Emergency Practice in Oxford Brookes University. These sandals, I got it from Saudi Arabia when I went there last year. As I told you before, I was born in Saudi Arabia. My parents are expats working there. And I haven't been there ever since I was 4. And I said to myself, I want to go back to see my birth country, which is so weird to say. Because you were born in a different country, but you just don't feel any sense of connection to it. And I got these sandals in the public market, a really nice market. I just thought that they're very durable and it's quite nice, it's quite unique. I don't want to be wearing like an Adidas sandals like everybody else in this complex. It's so commercial, it's so mediocre and so mainstream. I look forward to food. like you were saying something in a daily life. I look forward to good food. I like eating food. I like cooking food. I like sharing my food. I celebrate having to share a meal in a dinner table. I totally do. It's such a strong part of our culture. And if you come into our house, for example, if we're eating, and even if we're not eating, the first thing that we would say to you is that, kumain ka na ba? Have you eaten? I say that what makes Oxford great is that the people are coming from all over the world, so there's nothing really great about it on its own. But yeah, that's the thing that I think is really great about it, the amalgamation of so many people and culture. I try to get what it's like to be in a country that is supposedly a melting pot of so many cultures and people, and to see how is it to be living in a multicultural country and place that you get to interact with so many people that are so different from what I'm used to, where I'm from. And are they really that much better, different, the same? What things we can share together? What things that are just non-negotiable and totally would divide us, if there's any? When I was working back in the Philippines, I worked with several international non-government organizations. I worked with the government, our government. I work with the United Nations. And our industry is very expat heavy. What would it feel like if I go to your country and tell you what to do and say that I know these things better than you? And a lot of these people just doesn't get it. Like they're so entitled because of the color of their skin or like where they're from, or so many stupid things that they think they're entitled of. Well, I worked a lot in different countries in Southeast Asia, but then in my experience in the development work, I get to work with so many expats. And as I was saying, it's not all of them are bad, but a lot of them are. And I cannot change my nationality. I cannot change the color of my skin. I cannot change what my background is or my family is. And I wouldn't want to anyway. But what can equalize us or me to them is if I actually get an education that they would sort of respect. And then I went here and it was such a revelation because I knew it before that they're just blabbering so many things that they don't know about. But then that just really solidified what I already know, that a lot of these fucktards doesn't really know what they're talking about and doesn't really know what's happening on the ground or what it's like to be hungry. The people who actually knows what's happening in their countries are the locals, and if there's anybody who can figure out a way to really combat poverty or conflict or whatever, it's the people themselves. But the global and international political dynamics doesn't give that opportunity to the locals. That's a problem of the architecture of aid. What I try to achieve by doing this master's is that if I can penetrate that architecture, maybe in my small way I can try to make things better for my country or any place that I'll be working in the future. One of the things that I'm really proud of my country is that we have such a strong social capital. I'm not sure if you've been to Southeast Asia or you've been with Filipinos, but I'm telling you, it's like when I got here, I didn't know anybody in Oxford. Zero. So I'm afraid, like, what am I gonna be expecting in the UK, in a new country, in a new continent? So I googled, like, what is googled Filipino community in Oxfordshire, and I texted the guy who's the president of the Filipino community in Oxfordshire, and I said that, hey, where can I live, like stuff like that. I'm just getting tips. So when I got here, there's like a whole group of Filipino community members in the Heathrow with my name up. It's like I have a whole band picking me up from the airport. And they drove me from the airport to here. They treated me out for lunch. They gave me everything I need, my pants, duvet, sheets, bed, pillows. It's like, and I don't know any of these people. People here are so depressingly cold and distant and individualistic. My flatmates hate me because I'm sort of their social glue in the flat. That I always make up events and go out. I try to make them friends with my other friends. So they hate me because I distract them from their studies. In several instances in my jobs, most of the time I'm like really tired and frustrated and drained. But whenever I go to a community and did a project that I actually believe in, like this project actually worked, and you get to hear the people saying that, oh, this really changed our lives. Those are like the moments that would say, oh, I'm still sort of doing the good thing. A lot of these communities doesn't have anything to eat, but whenever we come in and visit them, they would really push for it to have something prepared for us. And this one time I actually cried after visiting one house because I know that they have nothing. I know them, like they have nothing. But they asked the small kid to go to the store to buy a small pack of biscuit for me because I'm visiting them, because I'm interviewing them for the project. You thought initially would think that you should give it to the kid because you know that the kid is hungry. But if you do that, you're like seriously shredding their dignity. So what you have to do is just smile and eat this biscuit, and you can share the biscuit, but at least you have to eat from the biscuit. But usually they would say no. This is like legit poverty in what I'm looking at right now. But in our country we have like 147 languages because we're in an archipelago of 7,500 islands. So I lived in an urban poor community. Again, if I have photos here of an urban poor community in Manila, Philippines, I want to show it to you just to give you an idea of how appalling the situation is. There's no proper sanitation. People are living in 4x4 square meters, 4 square meters area, family of 5. It's really hard. I would suggest for your viewers to Google like Manila urban poor places easily and it will come up. And we were required to live there for a year. I'm not going back to my house every night. We are actually required by our program to live there because the mantra of the university, of the program, is that by the people, for the people, from the people. So if there's any change that's going to happen in these very impoverished communities, it's not going to be coming from these big aid institutions, USAID, UKAID, AusAid. It's going to be coming from themselves. That's the philosophy that was inculcated in us. So we actually have to live their lives, literally. Like these people who doesn't eat 3 times a day, as I said, have no space to sleep. It's really smelly. The place, you just get used to it after a few days. People would throw their shit, will put their shit in a plastic bag and just throw it out, and doesn't matter where it lands, because that's how depressed the area is. It's still different because even if I'm living their lives for a whole year, it's a lot of time. Working with them, trying to better their lives, it's still, as I said, it's still not me being in their shoes. But I think it's the next best thing that I can do. You can never get a solution that's very alien, that's very foreign. And that's why a lot of this aid that's been happening around the world will just never work. It's very impulsive. It's like the new form of imperialism in some cases. Weird, but I think home is where the bed that you're really comfortable with, like you're craving for at that wherever you go in the world. Like there's that specific bed that you would still lie on and sleep immediately. It's that ability to understand other people. I think I'm not saying that I have that. I totally don't, because I have so many biases as well, as you can tell. But I think if we're just more understanding of other people, where they're coming from, if we can easily get that he's coming from this perspective, from this background, we could save ourselves so many wars and so many conflicts. Understanding other people, we have that when we were kids. Like you put a baby, well, not even a baby, a toddler from Mozambique, and then a toddler coming from Amsterdam, Netherlands. Put them together side by side, they're gonna play with each other. But the socialization process of how we're being brought up changes that very clean slate into I'm gonna be hating people with hijabs, I'm gonna be looking migrants differently, I'm gonna be hating expats because they're so stupid, in my case. But for me, one of the most profound things one of my professors said to me, and that sticks to me all the time, is that development workers, such as myself and people in my field, our goal is to be irrelevant. So actually we want to strive for a world that wouldn't need us. So in that sentence, I mean, I don't want to leave I wish I would get to see the point, or at least I have contributed to the movement of development workers being irrelevant and would not be there. I don't want to see a world where 30 years from now UNICEF is still fighting for children's rights. And right now I'm working on an ICT for development project, Information Communications Technology project, of trying to digitalize indigenous culture. For example, turning traditional games and stories into mobile apps, so more Filipinos can be more familiar with them. We can easily share it to other people in the world. I plan to have at least 2 months of lounging in front of the beach, backpacking around my country, enjoying the mountains there, meeting people that are grounded, like genuine people, so many.